All right, this is it. My final race is a Cat 5. We're out on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, Sequim, Washington, Tour de Dung. This is the first road race of the season around here. We've got about, I think, 55 guys signed up for the events. They did take day of registration, so it could have been more. But it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell how many guys exactly are there when you get to that number. But it ended up being a beautiful day for a race. I know it looks a little overcast, but it was like low 40s, no rain, very little wind. Yeah, it was a good vibe during the whole race, so I was really happy about it. Really enjoyed the race. I unfortunately, I tried a little experiment. So if you've ever run a GoPro, you know they only run for about 60 minutes on a battery. I tried to connect some external batteries to get the whole hour and a half of the race, but it didn't work. So I only got the first 2 laps. Unfortunately, I didn't get the third lap or the finish, which is a huge bummer, but I'm hoping that it'll still be fun to watch, especially for my teammates in the race. So that's a new big thing for me this year. This is the first time racing with teammates where we have a plan. I'm now on the Gene Johnson cycling team. One of the developmental team captains. The Devo team is the Cat 4s and 5s. And then here's who we have for the day. So, guys that have an asterisk next to their name, this is their first ever race. So, whereas this is my last Cat 5 race, for these guys, this is their first Cat 5 race. So, kind of a cool situation. I won't get too deep into the strategy, but yeah, all these guys are in there. We have 2 sprinters. Sam is our primary sprinter. This is his first ever race, so pretty cool job for him to take on. Connor's our secondary. We have 3 guys are more experienced guys working on trying to get into breaks, covering attacks, making attacks. We had 1 sweeper, which I'll talk about later, behind the sprinters. 2 lead out guys, Jeremy and JD, and then myself, the other Michael, Eric, and Seth, all worked as covermen, so just trying to keep opposing teams' breaks from going away. The most important opposing team that we were facing today was the University of Washington's club team. We have ridden with them before. They're like where they ride and where they practice is right around where my team practices. So we do ride together from time to time. They have a couple guys that are pretty experienced, so we had to watch out for them. This first lap, so I'm kind of doing a lot of kind of just random talking here, but it's because this first lap, not a lot happens. So the first couple 100 meters were it was like a neutral start. There was a lead car. The lead car was kind of going slow, and we were just following 2x2s. At some point, it might be now, the lead car actually honks their horn and takes off, but the race, nobody speeds up. It's the first race of the season. Everybody's going pretty chill. I'm kind of like in the middle of the pack. I can't see exactly what's going on in the front, but nobody's doing much. So right now we are actually getting into the last 2 kilometers or so of what will eventually be the finish stretch. So we're coming up a little kicker right now. It drops down, it goes back up again, and you'll see the signs up ahead. There'll be the 1K mark has a sign, and the 200 meter mark has a sign. So we get a chance to go through the finish line 3 times before we actually get there in the last lap for the race, which is kind of nice. You get an idea of like what it feels like. Even going what I would consider to be the easiest lap, I'm doing 400, or I was doing about 400 watts. And I'm almost 200 pounds, so I mean, not everybody's gonna have to push 400 watts up this, but the next couple laps we come through, we definitely like go hard up this little kicker. Yeah, I don't think anything is going to happen until after the first left-hand turn, and then it'll speed up a little bit. But the guy in front of me right now, he is a UW rider. So the UW guys have purple. The guy behind me, actually, in the dark blue and the white helmet, he's his name's Luke Wilson. He is a former professional football player, just retired recently, and just like got super into cycling and just decided to do a race. So I think he's riding solo, but keep an eye on him because he actually ends up doing some really fun stuff a little bit later in the race. you know, he's a professional athlete, right? So he's super competitive, very outgoing, very friendly. He kept getting up on the front and encouraging us to sprint and attack and go hard. It was pretty fun. I got in the mix with him a little bit, but that was kind of an unusual thing. You don't see a lot of like former like professional athletes, you know, racing bikes out in the middle of nowhere in Washington. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so now we're coming across the eventual finish line. As you can see, it's still uphill a little bit. It was like a 2% grade, nothing too crazy, but enough to count as like a kind of a, not really a hilltop finish, but definitely like not like a flat finish. Definitely the kind of finish that caters to, you know, maybe the smaller, more powerful guys rather than just like the big, huge sprinters. And I'm not going to commentate this whole video, by the way. I didn't even watch it before I started commentating, so I might be a little surprised by the things that happen. I'll just commentate for a little while, and then I'll let it roll. So you can see that the whole race is, you're only allowed to stay, like we only have one lane, so the roads aren't closed while the race is going on. We have a lead and a follow car, but the roads are still open. Okay, so now I'm moving up. So one of the big goals, one of the big plans, like for the Gene Johnson team, this guy in front of me is Gene Johnson. That's Ryder. He was actually the race captain for this race. He's just to my right, so you can't see him now. But he built the game plan, got us all organized, and is helping keeping us organized during the race. Then the guy behind me, John Priest, just behind me to the left, brand new Papa John, just had a baby. So he hasn't been riding as much, but he decided to come out to the race anyways and did great. Yeah, so our goal, so our original goal was, or one of our goals was to start up in the front of the race. We didn't really understand exactly how we were lining up, so we didn't end up all starting together in the front. So there's JD, so JD just caught up. So what we're all doing now, little by little, is moving up and getting in the front. So JD's dropping behind me. He's our primary lead-out guy, so the sprinter will eventually line up behind him. And so yeah, the goal is basically to get up in the front, kind of stay up there. We have a lot of guys. So of the 55 or so people in the race, I think. So it was 12. It was 12 G Johnson guys. So 12 guys from my team. I mean, you're talking like 20% of the entire race was us. But then half of our guys are brand new, right? So. You know, you have this idea that like we would come out and just dominate, and maybe that would be the case in like a higher cat race where we're all really experienced, but we all kind of decided that we'd keep it simple, you know, not try to attack, not try to do anything crazy the first lap. You know, I kind of tried to de-incentivize anybody from going too hard too early and then getting dropped. You know, I didn't want anybody to have that experience on their first race, so kind of asked everybody just to sit in, just rest, just chill out for the first lap, which we're all doing. Myself, Ryder, JD, and John are up near the front, but we're all a bit more experienced, so we're there just in case there are early attacks to cover. And as you'll see, this first lap, nothing much really happens. What are we doing? Like 21 miles an hour on the flats. You know, it's like a group ride basically. I think a couple people complained about that the first lap was basically, it was like almost like an easy group ride. But it's the first race of the season. Nobody's getting too crazy yet. It'll get a little bit more exciting in the second lap. There will be attacks coming from UW a couple times. The University of Idaho had a couple guys from their team out, and one of their guys did a great job. He attacked, I think, 3 separate times. He was covering attacks. He was like a one-man University of Idaho Vandal cycling club machine. So hopefully we'll get him on video a little bit. I'm pretty sure he was a Masters rider too, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, so like I said before, Ryder, the guy in front of me, he's our race captain, so he kind of helped develop the plan. And you know, his role, he's kind of a jack of all trades, so he can attack, he can try to get a brakes, he can kind of just play it by ear, but largely what he's going to do is help maintain communication, keep us organized, help support the new guys, they haven't raced before, help kind of encourage them to come up to the front. And if you haven't raced before, the reason I keep saying this over and over again, this whole idea of getting to the front, staying at the front, is you'll see once the race speeds up, the corners. So there are 5 corners total, 4 corners of which are 90 degrees and are pretty sharp. The corners are kind of like key locations in the race. They're one of the best locations to attack from, because as the guys in the front of the race, when the peloton's really long like this, especially when it's only like 2 guys wide or single file and it gets really long, when the guys are accelerating out of the corner, there's still guys in the back that are breaking into the corner. So the guys in the front are already accelerating, coming back up to whatever speed, 25 miles an hour, and the guys in the back are slowing down. And what happens is those guys that are further back, once they come around the corner, they literally have to sprint to catch back on. And the guy in front might hammer for like 10 seconds out of the corner. The guy in the back might be hammering for like 20 seconds, 25 seconds, and it makes a difference, right? So there's only 5 corners in the race, 3 laps. So if I do my math right, it's 15 corners. It adds up, right? So 15 times an extra 20 seconds of sprinting, I mean, you're basically doing like extra interval work. So I'm kind of really belaboring that point, but it's really important. It's really important to try to be in the front. The trade-off is that the farther you are to the front, the less draft you get, right? So at the point that I'm at right now, I think I'm like 4th or 5th wheel. I have a really good draft. It's really easy to be up here. Later in the season, when guys get more confident, there tends to be a bit more fighting for front position. And then in the 3rd lap, when everybody's getting ready to kind of get in position, try to sprint, there'll be a lot of fighting for position. But early on, especially in these Cat 5 races, guys tend to be like okay and feel comfortable just staying back. Oh, good. Okay, this is the Vandals guy, the University of Idaho guy that's coming up. This is like his first it's actually the first attack of the entire race. I just realized it's not like a really good attack, to be fair. Like he kind of just rolls off the front, everybody sees him coming. But this is the point of the race where like it actually started to turn into a bit of a bike race. But I'll say kind of. I mean, we only got up to like 25 miles an hour. Everybody jumped on his wheel, and it kind of slowed back down again. But it was the first time where it felt like maybe we were doing like a little bit of racing. You can see I got kind of excited, right? So I went ahead and jumped out of the draft. I mean, I'm still getting draft come to the side, but I kind of jumped out to move up and be very watchful because that was my job. So my specific job in this race was to cover. More than anything else was to cover attacks. And the way that we are covering attacks today is, except for the guys that are trying to get to breaks, is not to try to snap and jump across to the wheel of somebody that's attacking, but to kind of ease into the acceleration a little bit and try to pull the entire peloton up to the folks that are trying to get away. The idea there is we have our sprinters. So we have our sprinters and our lead-out guys who we're considering our best chance to win the race. So we decided that with the guys that we have, winning in a breakaway is not our best chance, because we know like UW has some really strong guys, and then in Cat 5 there's always some guys that are coming over from like some other discipline that are super fit and are going to be really hard to beat in a breakaway. So that was kind of our thought going into it. So we're not going to try to win the break. We're going to try to win in a field sprint. We have a good sprinter. We have a really good lead out. We've been practicing it. We've been practicing our lead outs on our group rides. So yeah, that's the whole point there is keep breaks from getting away, and keep our sprinter and lead out guys protected. So I don't want to snap when I cover. I don't want to like jump up to 800 watts and force the lead out sprinter guys behind us to have to work really hard. What I want to do is ease into it, let the gap go a little bit, and then just bring them back kind of slow and steady. We do have some guys. So one of the guys behind me right now, looks like it's Marvin. He is one of our breakaway guys. So his job, how it would differ from mine, is where I would kind of like ease into a higher power to try to close gaps. Marvin would try to snap, so he tried to go really hard, not allowing anybody to jump on his wheel to get across to some brakes. So we'll see if that happens. I feel like kind of what happened in this race is what happens in a lot of Cat 4 or 5 races, is that everybody there, whether they're on a team or they're alone, are so eager to race, to just be involved and to do things, that any attack, even if it's like one guy going solo right, which is, there's 33 miles left or whatever, right? There's no way that guy's getting away. Everybody will cover it, right? So there ends up not being like as much need, for us to chase everything, for us to be like really aggressive covering. Oh, here comes Mike Breen on the left. So he's the other Mike B. Mike B. He's Mike Breen. He's the other Mike B. We have the same job, so we're both covermen. So he's moving up so he can do that job. He's I think we're chatting right now, and I think I'm going to let him slot in. Which is great, right? So now we just have a bunch of Gene Johnson guys in the front. So I've got, looks like John Priest, one of our breakaway guys. Behind me, Mike Breen, who's another cover man. Ryder in front of us, who's also a cover man. So we have 3 cover men up in the front. I mean, if oh, here we go. Here's an attack. This is the first real attack. And it's a solo, so we're not covering. We're just letting it go. And then we see there's 2 other guys going. And that's when we move. So that was really actually well executed by us. Ryder could have chased that single, but he didn't, which was correct. Single guy goes up the road. There's no reason for us to chase and waste any energy. There's no way a single guy is going to get away, right? But as soon as we saw the guy, gosh darn it, he's in orange in the front. It's like the name of their team is like right on the tip of my tongue. But they're also a local team of Seattle. Anyway, so he tried to jump in. Another guy tried to jump in, and it looked like they were trying to bridge to the attack. And so at that point, we had to cover. We couldn't let 3 guys go. So at that point, you saw Ryder make his move, and then I just kind of followed Ryder, and we all just kind of surged up. We are going up something of a climb right now. It's really short. It's like 30 seconds. It's only a couple degrees of grade, a couple percent grade. It's nothing that's going to split the race apart, but it is a chance to kind of hurt everybody a little bit if you try to drill it hard on the front. So I think the single attacker is away at this point, but it's so early in the race that he's not going to stay away very long. Right? We're going to come down this hill and chase pretty hard. UW staying up at the front. I might commentate for a little bit longer, mostly because I just want to watch and see. Because I'm starting to remember some of the stuff that happened. This guy on the right, I don't know his name, but he was pretty involved. I think he might have been racing alone, but he was always in the front, always looking to do something. I think he was hanging out, hoping to get into a break. And he was pretty strong. I mean, if something would have gone at the right time for him, I think he could have got into it. And then there's 2 other guys that are wearing solid black that I'm pretty sure they're on a team together or they're buddies, but they were working together the whole race. And those were the 2 that were attacking the most. So the guy that's up the road right now was one of the guys in all black. I know it's not super helpful. I don't know their team name, but if they come into the screen or if he kind of rolls back once we catch them, I'll point him out. Fell Swoop. Okay, that's the guy in the orange. So that's a team. He's behind me right now. Fell Swoop. So they were really active. They had a couple guys Fell Swoop. UW again, the purple here. Those 2 guys on the right. I think UW had, I think they had 7 guys. I don't know how many Fell Swoop had, just a few. And then just a whole bunch of singles, which is what you see a lot of in Cat 5. Is a lot of guys they're just coming out to these races, racing solo. And really, since a lot of Cat 5 races stay together, if you have a good, strong sprint, it's anybody's game. Just because we have 12 guys is no guarantee that we're going to win. We just don't. we just don't have, you know, like that experience or those skills yet, or, you know, the knowledge of our own fitness to really be able to like utilize our numbers as well as we will be able to eventually. Maybe by the end of the season, the 4s and 5s from our team will be able to use our numbers a lot better, but right now it's really a lot of individual fitness. So another little kicker here, again, super short. You can see you can just barely see the guy. You could have riders in front of me. There's a guy in all black that's up the road, but we're about to catch him at the top of the hill. I don't even know if we caught him or if he was looking back. I think maybe he was just like letting himself, you know, come back to the peloton so he doesn't wear himself out too early. But yeah, the way, I don't know, the way that some of these little rollers will race was kind of funny. Everybody go really hard at the roller and then just completely drop off the gas at the top. I mean, that's me included, right? I mean, you know, I could have attacked at the top, which would have made sense, but I didn't. I don't think any of us were bold enough. It was just too early in the season. But yeah, I'm dropping a little bit too far back here. I remember not feeling like super great about it. I want to be like in the top 5 like all the time. So I need to move up a little bit. But we do have some Gene Johnson guys up there. Still kind of watching, covering, protecting. Our final sprinter, Sam, I don't know that we will ever even really see him on camera this whole time, because his job was, which he did perfectly, was like literally just to sit in as much as possible, not expend any energy, just chill out, which he did. And I guess I'll give you a spoiler here because you're not going to get to see the entire race anyways, but our sprinter did end up winning. So his first ever Cat 5 race, he missed the initial planning meeting for our team, and since he wasn't there, we jokingly told him he has to be the sprinter, which he agreed to. So he comes out to his first Cat 5 race. We tell him, hey Sam, your only job is to sit in the draft, not expend any energy at all, and then jump on JD's wheel. He's going to jump on Jeremy's wheel. He's going to jump on somebody else's wheel. You're going to build this big lead out. You're going to follow it, and then you're going to sprint with 100 meters to go and go for the win. Sam says, sure. Big smile on his face. We show up on race day, and sure enough, the guy wins he wins the race, his first road race ever. So it was amazing. The lead out didn't work out perfectly. I didn't get myself into position for the lead out. I know a couple other guys got caught out of position. The third lap was it wasn't really fast, but it was really aggressive. Like everybody was fighting for position. It's the first time I've ever like genuinely not been able to get up to the front for the lead out. So big kudos to the other guys on the team who did it right, who stayed up there and helped made it happen. So the guy in front of me is Darren. This is also his first race. Looks like I'm taking my chance to move up. I'm not sure why. I guess I just wanted to move up. I thought maybe it was going to be a corner. I am watching this guy that's in front of me. Like I'm kind of keeping an eye on him because I know he wants to go. So like the two guys in black and this guy, I'm just like watching him. The one University of Idaho Vandals guy. Going downhill now. Zooms in downhill. This is like our one really kind of fun straight shot downhill. This is nobody attacked on this lap, but every other lap that we did, somebody attacked on this downhill, which was really funny because it's really hard to attack on the downhill, right? I mean, like your chances of getting away on the downhill are pretty much nil, unless it's like bendy and it's a technical downhill. But when it's a straight shot, there's no chance. So there's one of the guys in black on the left. He's coming back. His teammate, I think, is a couple wheels back. You can see he wants to stay to the front, so he wants to kind of squeeze in. He's being polite though, didn't get in between me and John, who's behind me. Sorry, Darren, if you're watching this, I meant to talk about your job a little bit. So Darren, who we saw in the video earlier, he's our sweeper, and there's a couple different things a sweeper can do, but what our sweeper is doing, and we actually asked more than one guy to be a sweeper. Basically, is their job in this race is to be behind our sprinter, our true sprinter, essentially almost like bait, or I guess to put it another way, to hide who our true sprinter is. Generally in the lead-out train, the guy in the very back is your sprinter. So if an opposing team wanted to use our sprinter's wheel as a free ride to the finish line, normally what they do is get on the back of our lead-out and then get on our, whoever's in the very back, get on their wheel and then try to overtake them at the finish line. So what we did is we actually put a couple guys behind our sprinter. This isn't unheard of, but basically the idea is that when our sprinter finally goes, the two sweepers behind him don't go. Like, they don't go full gas. And so if an opposing team sprinter wants to try to get onto our sprinter's wheel, they're going to have to come around two guys. And those guys aren't going to block or hit their brakes or do anything like that, right? They're just not going to sprint. That forces the opposing team sprinter to have to overtake two bikes to catch up with our own sprinter. Essentially kind of preventing or reducing the chance that they can use our sprinter as their final lead-out. So that was his job, but he was also allowed to kind of do anything he wanted. Since he just had that one role at the very end, he was allowed to attack or cover, try to get into breaks, anything. So he was kind of like another wild card. Okay, so we have UW, second wheel. We have, I think it's the same guy from University of Idaho, the Vandals rider. The Masters rider, he's on the front again. I guess I'm not exactly sure what he's doing, because he didn't really attack. Like, he didn't create a gap. He just kind of got on the front and started riding hard. But it's only hard for him, of course. We're doing 24 miles an hour, which isn't super fast, but I'm not really doing much of anything. Just two wheels back, I think I'm doing like 150 watts. So he's kind of burning a bunch of gas and not really getting anything out of it. I think he finally decided, yeah, that's a bad idea. Oh, that was a different Vandals rider. That was the younger guy. So there were two guys that I saw on the front a bunch. There was an older guy and a younger guy. So I'm on the front now, and Marvin's behind me. Maybe the only guy on the team that's more experienced than I am, and he's telling me, don't go hard, go easy, which is so hard to do when you get on the front. So I just go kind of easy. I hear wheels coming up, and then I do what I'm supposed to do. I cover, maybe a little too hard, but I immediately jump on the wheel. This is a fell swoop guy. I don't know if he's trying to attack here, if he's just trying to make it hard. He's going pretty, he's making me do 400 and some odd watts, but the race isn't splitting up at all. I mean, everybody's like right on us. Ideally, if we were to do things again, this might be a good moment to attack. So we just went really hard. The race is going to slow down a little bit. Everybody's feeling fatigue. That ends up being like a really nice time to attack. If I had felt more confident, I could have tried to attack here. Or one of my teammates could have. But we didn't. It's the first lap, so everybody kept it cool. I actually, thinking back to it, I don't think Gene Johnson, I don't think we actually put that many attacks up. At the top of my head, I'm thinking maybe 2 total, and I don't think we did any counterattacks. So in that sense, we didn't do much. I mean, we weren't like super involved in the race, but that was mostly kind of like a request of mine and riders. I was just really afraid. So when we practice attacking on our group rides, which I should mention, our group rides are open to anybody. That's one of the reasons I think Gene Johnson's developmental team is so big. Why we're fielding 12 guys, and that's not even all our devo team. That's just the guys that can make this race. Our group rides are open to anybody. Anybody can come out. They're super friendly. We have a big social media presence. I'm one of the developmental team captains, and every Saturday before race season, we go out and do ride for 2 to 4 hours. But we always mix in race skills. So guys that have never attacked at a race before, never been in a race, get to try that. We practice leading out. We do a lot of pace lines, work on cornering. all that kind of cool stuff. But I'm digressing a little bit. What we ended up doing is, so what we learned on those group rides is that a lot of our newer guys or younger guys, what they would do is they would attack really hard or too hard, blow up, and then go out the back. And I didn't want that experience. I didn't want to have that experience for our newer guys. So we asked them not to attack till like in the first lap, at least, like no sooner than the second lap. Just so that, like, if they did make that mistake, attack too hard and get dropped, they would at least get half an hour of racing beforehand. And I might have discouraged attacking too much because I think it led to us barely attacking at all. We played really defensively. So I've got to take the blame for that. I asked us to ride defensively, and we were a little too defensive. But we do have some of my teammates coming up on the left here. Darren's in my rear view camera to the left. Oh, there's Sam. Okay, so Sam is back left in the blue, behind the guy in yellow. He is our final sprinter, and then to his right is JD, who's coming up on my right. So JD and Sam. So Sam's job was to kind of like sit on JD's wheel. All right, here we go. Coming out of a corner. I'm in a good position. 700 watts. Just for a second, right? So I had to hit 700 watts, but I knew it was for like 2 seconds, and then right back down. It's nice and easy. Guaranteed the guys in the very back are still sprinting out of the corner. So even though we took that corner easy, you're rewarded by being in front. So speeding up a little bit here. I think partly because people are excited. They want to go hard past the start line where everybody's watching. All right, another Vandals guy. I'm not sure if this is the guy that attacks. I hope so. So I think I get a couple of his attacks on camera. The guy in front of me in black, he's one of the two guys in all black that are really strong. So I started watching them too. Like after the first couple of minutes, I realized that those guys can get away. And if both of them go, they can get away together probably. One guy on our team that doesn't have a jersey on is, you can't see him now, he's to my left. He's in light blue, Connor. He was one of our sprinters. Seth, who's behind me. No, he's gone now. Orange helmet. He's a junior rider, so I think he's 17. This is his first race. He's riding with us. He hasn't been able to come to group rides, so we don't know him as well, but we got him involved. His job was to cover and then keep himself safe, not get dropped, which he did a great job of. I think he made it through the first 2 laps, and then I think he finally got caught off guard on the corner in the 3rd lap. But good job to him. Kudos for his first race. There's Connor to my back left. He's in light blue. We didn't get him a jersey. I didn't realize he didn't have one. We should have got him one. But he's our only guy that doesn't have a Gene Johnson jersey on, which I guess kind of makes him like our secret agent. Because nobody knows he's actually on our team. But he's coming up. Seth is coming up, which is awesome. I didn't realize Seth had made it to the front. And yeah, we've got a bunch of Gene Johnson guys positioned really well. Oh, attack on the right. Yes, beautiful. That was a good attack. That was a really good attack. Okay, so he attacked from way back, like 10 wheels back, which allowed him to get a lot of speed before he came across the front and caught all of us off guard. So easy to see on camera because I can look at my rear view, but I remember being shocked when he shot by. And I didn't actually do my job quite right. I hit 900 watts trying to chase it down. I was supposed to ease in just a little bit more so no gaps formed behind me, but I got excited. It's hard not to get excited. But it wasn't, the attack, unfortunately, it wasn't sustained. So for an attack like that to work really well, you either need a teammate who's down to counterattack, or you need folks from other teams, like myself, for example, or somebody else bold enough, that when that attack goes, to not just chase onto that wheel, but go past them and keep going. Essentially working with that person temporarily to try to get a big gap in the race. So this guy in front of me is creating a gap. He's kind of getting dropped. I don't know what's happening, why he's dropping back. But in that situation, if the guys in the front had hammered really hard with that gap there, they might have been able to get away. But it's the first race. None of us are super aware of what we're doing. you know, like our vision. I know my vision like wasn't great. There were a couple times where there were actually gaps behind me, and I had a group of like 5 or 6 guys where I could have yelled, "Hey, go, go, go! There's a gap," and tried to get a break to form. You know, even though it wasn't my job to get in breaks. You know, if you're there, right? But I didn't see it, right? I didn't look back. I wasn't really paying attention, and so you know, some missed opportunities. I am on the front here, but if you look at my power, you know, I'm not doing much. My FTP, so for anybody that knows me, my FTP in 2019, so the last time I was really racing, it was like 330, which I was really happy with as a Cat 5. It's like 290 now, so I didn't do. So when the pandemic hit and everybody else started riding like crazy, I changed jobs and got really busy and kind of stopped riding. So I am actually working on getting my fitness back. So doing 320 watts or whatever I was doing on the front is actually like, it's harder for me now than it was before. So I'm afraid to do it for very long. As you can tell, like I tend to just kind of like start soft pedaling right away. So we're back. We passed the start line. We are kind of on like that final approach to the final couple Ks to the finish line. There's an attack going here, but I actually couldn't cover this one. You can see my heart rate's at like 180. I actually didn't. I was nervous that if I tried to cover this uphill, that I would get myself maybe not dropped, but get dropped back. Thankfully, Ryder, who just went, saved me, and he covered it. So yeah, big thank you to Ryder for covering that. As soon as Ryder went, then a bunch of other guys went, then JD goes. Sam's behind me. He's not supposed to go, but he's in good position. So yeah, if Ryder hadn't covered that move, there were 2 of the guys in the black jerseys. I mean, they could have potentially gotten away. So that might have been a race-saving move or cover by Ryder there when I was unable to do it. So I'm glad I'm rewatching this and commentating on it because I got to see that. So Ryder, if you end up watching this video, thanks, buddy. That was awesome. That might have been race-saving. Sam, good job here. So Sam sees a gap and he jumps across. He's our sprinter. So yes, he's supposed to rest, but he can't get caught behind a gap. So he knew, he saw it, and he's like, all right. He jumped in and got it closed up right away. Yeah, my heart rate's still at 180, but we're going up the hill, and I'm almost 200 pounds. So even on little tiny hills, I feel like big hills. I just need to get my fitness back. It's coming little by little. I'll record a bunch more races during the season, and I'm hoping by the end I'll have my fitness back to where it was before, if not better. But yeah, so that corner's pretty easy. That corner, that's the corner after the finish line. So if anybody's watching this, getting ready to race for 2023, that corner after the finish line is really, it's the easiest corner by far because it goes into a downhill. So even if somebody comes really hard out of that corner, you're rolling downhill. You're not going to have to work that hard to get back on. So, or if you're thinking about like where to attack, not a good corner to attack on. A bunch of guys tried to attack on it and never even got close to working. There's some other corners that are a lot better. So the next one's a little bit better. And then the bottom 2 corners on the race. So if you look at the little map on the bottom right, the bottom 2, the bottom right, bottom left, those are probably the best corners to attack out of, especially the one on the bottom right. There was a road revision out here this year. They put in a traffic circle, kind of a weird circle, not like a circle in the city where it's like literally just like a circle of concrete. It's got like some weird concrete structures, and it's we'll come up to it eventually if I'm still commentating at that point. But the road gets really narrow, and you're kind of forced into like a 3 bike wide at max pass through there, and so it's like this little bottleneck, and in that, like right after that bottleneck, you can hammer, and it hurts everybody a lot. I think that corner hurt me more than any of the other ones, especially when I let myself drift back a little bit. Cool, so we're in lap 2. So this is the fun lap. So people will actually start doing some exciting stuff. I'll stop chickening out as much as I have been because admittedly I was totally being a chicken at first. I'm going to get up to the front again. I think the guy I was talking about earlier, the former pro football player, yeah, he's on the front. Okay, so I think he chilled out the whole first lap. His coach, I know his coach, Derek, really nice guy, told him that he was absolutely not allowed to be on the front, which I thought was really funny, but it was smart. His coach was like, you're never allowed to be on the front, don't get on the front. So he didn't for the whole first lap. He didn't get on the front. So Derek, if you're watching this, Luke listened, he didn't get on the front, and then on the second lap, he was on the front a bunch. So, Luke, sorry, I am tattling on you, but it was actually a lot of fun. He gets on the front, he's, if you've raced, especially if you've raced like Cat 5, everybody's really nice. Like if you talk to the guys next to you, just say how you doing. Like everybody's super friendly and just happy to be there. It's not like super crazy, awkward, competitive like some sports are. People seem to be pretty chill. But Luke's personality is just like it's really big, super big for like cycling too. He's up there like, yeah, guys, let's do it. Let's ride hard, let's attack, let's drop some guys, and it was fun. Like it got me pumped up because I like that kind of personality, that energy. So there he is to my left. You can't really see him because my rear weekend was blocking. But there's a few times where he'll he'll just like kind of cheer. He'll like cheer us on and be like, "Let's go, guys!" And and then I get all excited and I go hard. A couple other guys go hard. And eventually somebody will soft pedal, which is technically the smart thing to do, right? Like you don't want to be burning all your matches for nothing, but. It also it also gets really boring. Like this is the post-race brief, like debrief that I had with the team was basically like we all had a lot of fun, but it was super boring. It was like it was probably the most boring race I've ever been in, which is perfect for like somebody's first race, and it's perfect for like a season opener. But I mean, there's so little going on. You guys, we're going 20 miles an hour down like a clean, flat, nice road. So yeah, and you can see me, I'm still being kind of lame. Like I don't usually in races, like I like to get on the front, and I like to go kind of hard, and when it's flat it's easy for me, right? I'm like a bigger guy. Okay, so I go a little hard. Here's Luke. Luke was he was like egging us on. He's like, come on guys, let's go hard. And I'm like, yeah buddy, sure. And you can see the guy behind me, he's got a big smile on his face. The UW guy, he's like laughing. I don't know what Luke said, but he just says all this funny stuff. He's just like coaxing us on. He's like, come on dude, let's go. And so I'm like, all right, sure, fine, I'll get on the front and go hard. And like the UW guy's like, okay, sure dude, I'll go hard too. JD's also into it. Like what he was trying to get us to do, what Luke was trying to get us to do, the guy behind me was get a pace line going. Which would actually be kind of cool with like 6 or 7 guys. The UW guy on the right, he's the one that kind of... No, actually the guy to my right, he bailed out. He was like, nah, I don't want any of that. I haven't seen him on the front too much, so I think he got up here and was like, no, I don't want to do that. But basically Luke was trying to get us to do like a hard pace line in the front, which would have been fun if we could have got 5 or 6 of us. Here's my like one sort of lame-o attack. It's not even really attack. It's just... I think like when Luke got me pumped up, I couldn't help myself. So I just like got in the front and I was like, all right. I was like, I can do like 320 watts or 50. I don't know what. I'm all over the place. I don't know why I'm so inconsistent, but 320 watts or whatever. I'm like, I can do that for like 2 minutes, whatever, and that'll be fun. Yeah, I didn't do it for 2 minutes. Now I'm looking at this. I did it for like a minute. But it was. We'd been doing nothing for like 40 minutes. It was kind of exciting to get up there. I think Luke, like he'll catch his breath and then he'll come up here and like kind of go hard again, and we'll bounce around a little bit. But yeah, well, I've been talking for 45 minutes about nothing. I don't know why I can't help it. I watch these races, and even when they're super boring like this, like it's just fun to watch and talk about. Yeah, so if anybody's hopefully what I'm really hoping for when I post these videos is I'm not offering you guys like some kind of high tech, super advanced, racing strategy, right? Like this isn't NorCal cycling. This isn't Trainer Road, right? I'm a guy that's just finishing up his Cat 5 time. I mostly post these so that they're fun to watch, like later, like a year later or down the road. But I know how fun they are for other people to watch. So when I first started racing, the first time I saw myself in somebody else's video, I must have watched that video like 5 times, and I didn't do anything in that race at all. But it was just so fun to see myself. So I'm kind of hoping that like I can, kind of allow that experience to be there for other people. For the Apex guys out here, the UW guys, and there's I'm gonna say their name wrong. Zervenbergen. God, the guys in red. Man, they came out of nowhere. They were like no part of this race at all. I don't think I saw them on my camera a single time. Oh, I don't know. This guy must have got a flat or something. That sucks. So he and his buddy finally get to the front. He must have got a flat or something. I feel bad. That's terrible timing. He and his buddy finally get to the front. They had been in the back of the race the whole time. I didn't see them on camera at all. Got to the front and just started drilling. So I'm guessing they had like a full-on plan. They were like, hey man, like halfway through lap 2, like let's get on the front and do something. Or maybe they were just like, I'm bored. Let's go up there and jam. So everybody kind of shoots up. You can see how quickly, like if I'm not being active, I can slip back wheels. Like I'm like 10th wheel now. I was, first wheel like just a minute ago. So it happens fast. You really gotta be active and fight for it. So I got John in front of me, the Zervenbergen guy. Apologies if I'm saying your team name wrong. He's drifting back. So he did his attack. He's drifting back in. But it looks like he wants to be involved now. UW guys, God, they did such a good race for UW. They came out and raced against us on Mercer Island, which is in Seattle. It's like a really famous like local Seattle route. Really good one to race on. Not a lot of cars. And we, I think we won 2-3 on top of them. Gene Johnson kind of just totally won that little practice race. And so we kind of had this idea that they were going to come to this race and not really be an impact, but that wasn't the case at all. Like they raced really well. And they actually took all the podium spots except for the first. We got first place, but they took second and third, and I think had a couple other guys in top 10. So those will definitely be one of our main competition probably this year is UW, which I'm thankful for. I was a little worried that we were going to be this like big juggernaut team and have no other like big teams to face against, which isn't, that's not a lot of fun, right? Like if you're just coming out with like, if we're coming out with 10 guys every race, there's nobody to really contend against us. That's not really fun for anybody. So excited for the UW folks. I'm a UW. I'm actually a UW alum myself, so proud of them. I didn't cycle when I was going to school there. I commuted in, but I didn't know there was like a race team. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. So very cool they do that. Got Jeremy, who's behind me, back left. He is another one of our main lead-out guys, so he's not really supposed to do anything. He's supposed to just kind of sit in. I think he does attack at some point, so I think he just gets bored. Connor, who's up on the right, 595 in the light blue. He's getting a little bit more involved. So we're actually still coming up a hill right now, and it looks like whoever's on the front's just kind of drilling, trying to make it hard on everybody. But for folks that haven't raced this, that are just trying to preview this for 2023, none of these hills are really long enough to drop anybody. At least not anybody that's going to be like in contention for the race. Like, you can hurt people a little bit, but like I don't think there were ever any gaps on the hills. I'm like the antithesis of a climber. I think my watts per kilogram, my FTP, my watts per kilogram is like 3.6 or 3.7 or something. Which, if you know anything about watts per kilogram, that's not great. My flat power is okay, but like my power to weight's really low, so I get destroyed on hills. And I had no problem with this race at all. It's really super flat. So this is the one turn that is probably the strangest, sketchiest. You can see there's kind of like concrete. And I don't know. I said 3 riders wide. You could probably get 4 or 5 through there. It might feel a little sketchy, but it's not too bad. But yeah, so there was a pretty good hammer out of this corner, and then some little gaps formed. And if it had been organized up here, actually, sorry, I speak too soon. There is a gap between us and a group way up the road. But it looks like UW and then Gene Johnson, us, did a really good job of shutting it down. I see a lot of blue up in the front. So it looks like some of our guys who maybe were chilling a little bit in the first lap are getting more active covering in the second. Because obviously I'm not covering this one at all, and somebody's up there covering it and doing a really good job. That breakaway, or that attempt at a breakaway, got nowhere. We must have caught that until we slowed down. We got John up here on the right. He's one of our potential breakaway guys, but since he just had a kid and hasn't been sleeping much or training much, he's mostly just kind of sitting in, I think. Ryder all the way on the right. Ooh, there are little gaps forming on the hill. This seems exciting. This is what should be happening. That was a lot more organized. It's hard for me to tell from the angle I'm at, like who is going up the road. I don't think it was any Gene Johnson guys though, so we definitely have to push, get back on. Little tiny gap behind me. That's Darren. I think Darren's smart though. He's probably just going to let other people come around. But yeah, I mean, like the whole race could have split in two if the folks in the front knew what was happening and kept drilling it. Oh no, dude, it's going to slow down. Darren's going to close. It could have been exciting if somebody had counterattacked, or if we could do this race. Now that I'm thinking kind of on the fly, it's not a counterattack. Never mind. If we could do this race all over again, I think what I would have tried to encourage us to do, and for anybody watching this from another team early in the season, what I'm going to encourage our guys to do in the future is really focus on counterattacks. So maybe some of the future races, like keep guys their job is just to counterattack. So anytime like something like what just happened, right, where there's an attack, it goes really hard, it gets strung out, like little mini gaps form. The moment, and this is really common in cycling, but like the moment it gets caught, or right as it's about to get caught, is counterattack. So then attack at that point. What you'll find, especially at the Cat 5, so Cat 5s like to chase everything down except when they're tired. Like if you attack in Cat 5, there's very little chance it's going to get away, because everybody is going to chase it down, even if it's a terrible attack. You're not really like in a gap. You're attacking in a weird spot. Like it'll get chased. Everybody's too excited, right? They can't help themselves. But on the flip side, when people are tired, everybody will let it go. So it ends up being this funny thing. It's like if you counterattack, or if you're able to save enough juice to attack when people are tired, people will let you go. Which it sounds kind of intuitive, right? Okay, like if everybody's tired, they're not going to cover you. If they're not tired, they're not going to cover you. But like, there should be a little bit more strategy in it than that. Like if one or two guys go up the road and you've got 50 guys in the peloton, like especially like if those are two strong guys, but not so strong that they're going to get away. But they're strong, right? Like letting them go actually makes a lot of sense, because you're going to let those two guys spend 45 minutes out there doing threshold or above threshold pulls. There's somebody attacking from UW, but this is the attack that we were. The UW guys are great, but don't attack downhill. You can't get away going downhill. Like they're attacking downhill. It feels really fast. It feels like you can get away, but it is so easy to catch people going downhill. Again, this is not, now I'm not talking about technical downhills, right? Like if it's technical and twisty, like that's a totally different ballgame, right? Like if you're really good at descending and you can handle like, you know, taking tight turns at speed, then yes, attack downhill. But on a straight stretch, basically like we're going to catch them with like zero effort from most everybody in the race. So basically the guys just like the UW guy that just attacked puts in this monumental effort, burns a match, and everybody else in the peloton is doing no effort to catch him. So just something to keep in mind. Attacking like downhill, not the best move, but it does feel fun because you're going really fast. Like you feel like you're getting away, and then you look back and you realize everybody's behind you instantly. But I think they do that again the next lap. But nobody's doing anything, so might as well. It's fun, I guess. So I'm getting a little farther back here. I don't know why I drifted so far back. The first part of the race, I was doing a really good job of staying in the front, and then I kind of just, I think I got it like when the race wasn't very exciting, like there wasn't a lot going on. I just got like a little lackadaisical. I know that I eventually move up. Okay, here we go right now. The shoulder is open. You can ride on the shoulder, so it's not illegal what I'm doing. You can't cross the center line though, which a couple of guys did. They didn't get pulled from the race, but maybe just because it's the first race. But in the future, if the follow car sees you cross the yellow line, they'll just like DQ you from the race immediately. So something to keep in mind. A bunch of guys did that. Several guys did it multiple times. I don't think anybody's DQ'd, but I'm not certain. So just something to keep in mind. A lot of race coordinators get pretty mad actually. They'll like pull up beside the peloton and yell at you and tell you to like get out of the race. I've seen it happen before. That's kind of embarrassing and that sucks. So, but yeah, the shoulder's open. I'm not sure why everybody was leaving it so open, but it was a great, left a good opportunity to move back up and be where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be like a little bit further up than this. I think the front five guys. I was going to say there's nobody from Dean Johnson in the front five, but that's not true. I think Connor is in the very front right now, so we're good there. But a personal goal for myself was to try to make sure that there were no more than like 3 or 4 guys that were not Gene Johnson, in front of me. There's Jeremy to my right. He's one of the lead out guys. Luke directly in front of me. Yeah, I think what Luke does is, he'll kind of get nuts for a little while and go like super, super hard, and then he'll drift back into the body of the race, draft for a while, catch his breath, get on the front, go crazy again. That's pretty fun. The race slowed down a lot here, 20 miles an hour. Jesus. It's not even like I'm getting swarmed, I'm just being lazy and just like kind of like letting myself drift back. Okay, so now I'll move back up on this little like micro hill. We'll call this the Brewery Hill. There was like a pub on the right there we kept joking about stopping at. Yeah, just like these little kickers. So if you look at the course map at the Strava map, it looks like this is a hilly route. But it's really not. I think if you were riding alone, like you might feel the hills, but when you're riding in a group, like you're spending so much time resting on the flats that like every time you hit the hill, you're totally fresh. So they're not hills; they're just little rollers, little kickers. I think the pair of kickers at the finish line are the only ones that like really hurt. I did have to do like 500 to 700 watt efforts for like kind of extended periods of time every time we come across comes to the finish line. So it's tough. It makes it kind of a wild race because you spend so much time riding on the flat, and then like right at the finish line you have to go up this kicker. And so the guys that might normally be like an advantage on a flat race they get hamstringed a little bit because of the hill. Even like our really strong guys that were running the lead out, so they burnt out a little early. Maybe because they went too hard, but also because they're trying to contend with that hill. I think we have a Gene Johnson guy in the front, which is why I'm sitting like fifth wheel. I think that's Michael Brain, who's also in his first race did a really good job. He kind of hung out in the front a lot. So yeah, he drifts back to like 10th wheel. All right, there's only 10 minutes of the race left. I don't think I'll commentate the last 10 minutes. I don't have much more to say. I think we'll see a couple more attacks coming into the last lap. The last thing we'll say is I am really bummed I didn't get the entire race because the third lap was pretty sporty. It was pretty nerve-wracking. I've been racing and riding long enough now that I'm pretty confident riding a group, but there was some spicy stuff going on. Guys were so desperate to move up that they were like trying to jam into like tiny little gaps, and I was getting bumped a lot. And, it's fine. Like we practice bumping in our group rides and stuff like that, but it was a lot. It was a lot of bumping. It was a lot of like surging and braking, and it was a wild third lap. There ended up being a huge crash at the finish line. Connor, the guy behind me, I almost don't want to say this because I don't want to like disencourage anybody from racing because it's a lot of fun, but things can happen. Connor crashed hard, landed on his face, and broke half the tooth off. So I'd never heard of that in a bike race before, so that was obviously not good news. Another one of our guys broke his finger. A bunch of other guys were involved in the crash. So yeah, third lap was crazy. It was so crazy the guys that didn't get in the crash were telling me afterwards that it like almost kind of turned them off from racing a little bit because it was so like everybody was so eager and kind of doing weird things. But that's also just I think Tour de Dung. I think because it's so flat, so many guys come into the last lap feeling rested. Whereas in a lot of other races like Seward Park, which is also in Seattle, Pacific Raceways, which is so Seward Park is a crit, so short race, like 30 minutes long for the lower ranked guys. Pacific Raceways, which is also in the Seattle area, is about an hour long. Like those are crits, right? So they are like go hard all the time, burn all your matches. And the only crash I ever saw Pacific Raceways was a guy that crashed by himself. I don't know if he like his chain popped or what happened, but he was just like all by himself and just crashed. So that was the only crash I ever saw at Pacific Raceways. There are crashes every year at Tour de Dung. I think it's just the nature of this race because it's slow, because everybody's fresh, everybody just gets weird. And I got weird, I'll admit. Like I was so desperately trying to move up in the third lap that I was like trying to push myself into gaps that weren't really there, and then I had to hit brakes, and like everybody was doing that. So it's kind of everybody. We're all to blame for the way that went, but it's also the nature of this race. It's a great first race because it's easy, but it's a bad first race in that like at the end everybody wants to sprint. And you've got 30 guys out of 50 that have energy left and they all want to be involved in the sprint. It gets sketchy. So you can see even now like it's not going fast, but people are already starting to get like a little bit more eager. Right? We're not even like technically into the third lap yet. The guys are kind of they're finally starting to squish up and make some moves. All right, I'm going to finish commentating here in a minute. But this is the start line. So we'll come around this corner one more time. This is barely a corner. You can pedal through it. At least at 24 miles an hour, you can pedal through it. So we were calling it corner 5, but it's only sort of a corner. So this is the original start line. Really long, flat stretch here. I'm already like not in good position. I'm like 15th wheel, and we have a whole other lap to do, but I don't know. I didn't race this lap very well. There's only like 8 minutes of this video left, but I just remember like being kind of frustrated with myself. Like I let myself get mid-pack, and like, just like once it was finally time to like get up and I was supposed to help organize the lead out. I was supposed to be one of the front guys. to help pull the lead up to the front. I was supposed to take like the first, not hard pull, but like moderate pull. And Mike Broom was going to take a pull behind me, and I just never got to the front. Luckily, JD and Ryder, a couple other guys, got it reorganized, but yeah, kind of a messy race. All right, that's enough commentating there. I think I took like 18th or something, which didn't really matter. This race for me was all about trying to help keep our sprinter safe, keep the brakes shut down, and so I felt like I was happy with my race. Hopefully all my other Gene Johnson guys, you guys get a chance to watch this and see yourself in it. I know Seth and Eric, we didn't see a ton of you, a little bit of Seth. I think Eric had like a mechanical really early on and had to drop out of the race. Darren, we didn't see like a ton of you. I think you're up there to the left. Connor, saw some of you, a bunch of you, Ryder, a bunch of JD, a little bit of Marvin and John. So thank you guys for racing with me. I'll be Cat 4 from here on out, and I think a bunch of guys that were in this race together. So all the guys that didn't have asterisks next to their name, I think almost all of us are moving up to Cat 4 going forward. So our Cat 5 team will be a little bit small at the races, probably like 4 to 7 guys instead of 12 to 15. So, but then our Cat 4 squad's going to be massive. A couple guys will be upgrading in the next couple months, but it'll be really big for a while. So, all right, thanks for watching. I'll be posting more races this season. There's Mason Lake coming up next weekend. I think I'm going to record that or part of it. Pacific Raceway starts up in a couple weeks. I'll probably record almost all of those. I don't know if I'll commentate them, but I'll post them. And I'll be racing maybe both sessions. Pacific Raceways has 2 sessions every night, like one at 5:30, one at 7. So you can race 2 crits back to back if you're feeling crazy. Okay, that's it. I gotta shut up. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.